Mr. Speaker and members of the House of Assembly, 100 years ago, marching proudly in their blue puttees towards ships that would ferry them to a war-torn Europe, young Newfoundlanders and Labradorians could not imagine what awaited them or what would be asked of them. A century later, we honour the far too many whose young lives were cut brutally short, and many more whose bodies and memories were scarred by what they endured. Through the Honour 100 First World War commemorations, we are telling the story of our men and women who served in the Royal Naval Reserve, Newfoundland Regiment, Newfoundland Forestry Corps, Volunteer Aid Detachment, as well as those who supported the war effort at home. We will soon mark the centennial of the regiment's landing in Gallipoli, Turkey, on September 19th. The Honour 100 initiative will include opportunities for our students and veterans to participate in the annual Trail of the Caribou Pilgrimage with the Royal Canadian Legion. This year, a new ambassador program will provide opportunities for more youth to commemorate Newfoundland and Labrador's role in the First World War by visiting the memorials at Beaumont Hamel and other solemn sites where the remains of our loved ones rest. Like others before them, they will return with fresh perspectives and stories that all of us need to hear. Stories to remind us of the unbearable sadness of war and the debt we owe to those who served. As students throughout our province hear these stories, they will also benefit from curriculum enhancements that tell about the people whose sacrifices we honour. Our government has celebrated the contributions of the women and men who served in this war and other conflicts by naming the 2 new provincial ferries that will service Bell Island, Fogo Island and Change Islands, the motor vessel Legionnaire and the motor vessel Veteran. In recent decades, Newfoundlanders and Labradorians have served on battlegrounds from Sarajevo to Kandahar. Although those devastated frontiers were far removed from the shores of Green Bay, it was there, in her quiet Springdale home, that Gladys Osmond started handwriting letters to the troops one by one. She organized a granny brigade of like-minded seniors eager to spread some down-home cheer, well wishes and prayers with soldiers who were serving in harm's way. Time and again, the soldiers wrote back to say how touched they were that she would reach out to lift their spirits. Gladys passed away in January at the age of 91. But before passing away, she was presented with the Canadian Forces Medallion for Distinguished Service. She was granted an honorary Doctorate of Laws degree by Memorial University and inducted into the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador. Today, we honour Gladys Osmond and the Granny Brigade for exemplifying the very best qualities of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, and for reminding us to keep in our hearts the women and men who serve to protect us at home and abroad. Despite the distances and differences that separate us, Newfoundlanders and Labradorians stand by one another in hard times and good times alike. In the history of Newfoundland and Labrador, there are thousands of people like Gladys whose stories need to be shared, whether in Them Days magazine or on CBC's Land and Sea, in novels or history books, in folklore, research, or songs or films. These stories must be gathered and disseminated among our young people to show them who they are and from whence they've come. In towns from Glenwood to Nain, from Natwashish to Port-au-Port, from Conn River to Northwest River, we encourage people to capture and chronicle the tales of folk heroes that more of us really ought to know. To showcase the richness of our diverse Inuit, Innu, and Mi'kmaq heritage, our government is now preparing the terms of reference for an Aboriginal Education Advisory Committee to enhance school curriculum so it will continue to reflect this heritage to all Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. Our government will also continue to consult with Aboriginal organizations, including when development decisions have the potential to impact asserted rights. We will continue to implement the Labrador Inuit Land Claims Agreement, continue to negotiate the Innu Nation's final land claims and self-government agreement, and the Makapa First Nation final self-government agreement, continue to participate in the Innu Roundtable, continue to develop a lands claim and self-government agreement implementation policy, and continue to ensure that Aboriginal people benefit fully and fairly from major developments like the Muskrat Falls. Across the vast stretches of the Big Land, the camaraderie that unites people of diverse communities is an inspiration for all of us. Guided by the Northern Strategic Plan and other investments targeting Labrador, by the end of the 2014-15 fiscal year, our government allocated a total of $4.9 billion in Labrador since 2004 and opened up the region as never before with the Trans-Labrador Highway. We will consult with Northern stakeholders to develop a new Northern Strategic Plan to raise new opportunities on the foundation we have already built. In 2016, we will once again support Labradorians who gather for the Labrador Winter Games, a triennial celebration of sports as diverse as the snowshoe race, the snowmobile race, the dog team race, the Labrathon, the 1-foot high kick, and over the rope. In recognition of the uniqueness of Labrador and the love Labradorians share for their flag, our government will proudly fly the Labrador flag at our Labrador-Quebec border crossings. Our multifaceted heritage not only enriches us as a people, but it also forms a backbone of our billion-dollar tourist industry, in which thousands of people are finding employment and opportunity in more than 2,500 enterprises, 83% of which are small businesses. Our government has invested directly in businesses and infrastructure to help strengthen our tourist industry. It has invested in marina developments, boardwalks, trailways, airport improvements, the St. John's Convention Centre, and various enterprises, all with the goal of strengthening Newfoundland and Labrador's image as a destination for leisure and for business travelers. By continuing to invest in our award-winning trend-setting marketing campaign, we will showcase Newfoundland and Labrador to the rest of the world with a goal of further developing this essential industry. Our government will continue to support growth through our cultural economic development programs, the Newfoundland and Labrador Arts Council, our community museums, heritage organizations, archives, and provincial historic sites. The just concluded Republic of Doyle series complemented our marketing ads by showcasing our uniqueness around the world. In this year's budget, our government will announce initiatives to build on that success. Mr. Speaker and members of the House of Assembly, for a decade, our government has been fostering innovation and diversifying the provincial economy, supporting start-up businesses, emerging growth sectors, and regional development activities. We are committed to making local companies globally competitive, strengthening employment opportunities, and driving economic diversification in Newfoundland and Labrador. Through our Department of Business, Tourism, Culture, and Rural Development, we are enabling more than 50 companies to increase their competitiveness through the implementation of industry-leading lean manufacturing practices. For some firms, the shift has been transformational. One central Newfoundland small business has more than doubled production. Others have delivery times cut in half, significant reductions in defects, and have improved safety and morale. Our government will drive the use of lean manufacturing techniques by more enterprises while helping them collaborate and learn from one another through our support of business networks. Newfoundland and Labrador's major industrial projects have fueled the growth of a supply community that is more than 600 strong. These enterprises, in turn, represent the development of an extensive knowledge base and skills inventory that can be marketed beyond our provincial boundaries. The expertise we draw here for those industrial projects will remain and fuel growth long after the projects have been completed. International business growth opportunities for local enterprises are off the charts because of free trade, international partnerships, supply chain networks, and other fundamental shifts in the global marketplace. But the global marketplace is complex and competitive. To help industries meet the increasing rigorous demands and to secure their niche, our government will provide targeted, trade-focused assistance for small and medium-sized enterprises pursuing international business opportunities. We also recognize that building a strong, diversified economy is based upon a strong private sector comprising a mix of smaller, nimble firms working alongside large multinational companies that are entrenched in global markets. That is why attracting foreign direct investment and attracting companies with international reach to the province continues to be one of our trade and investment priorities. Prospects for growth in the knowledge-based economy in particular are incredible. By providing support for business incubation and acceleration, we are helping advanced technology firms with high growth potential to tap into new markets and connect with venture capital opportunities that will propel them to global success. In no area of technology are Newfoundlanders and Labradorians better positioned to lead than in ocean technology. Here, on the North Atlantic, we have nurtured a culture of innovation that has enabled us to make breathtaking advances in the oil and gas sector, fisheries and aquaculture, transportation, environment, marine recreation, tourism, security, and defense industries. We have built infrastructure and expertise second to none and are now partnering with other businesses in the largest ocean technology markets in the world. Our government will be even more aggressive in driving ocean technology growth to meet demand abroad and draw opportunities and profits home. With unsurpassed expertise in taming the harsh ocean environment, Newfoundland and Labrador is well positioned to take a lead role in developing technology to provide solutions to operational challenges in the Arctic. Our government is focused on three strategic directions under the Arctic Opportunities Initiative. First, positioning the province as a path to the Arctic. Second, building capacity. And third, fostering economic development and business opportunities for local players. Newfoundland and Labrador is strategically located on international and northern sea shipping routes, with world-renowned industrial infrastructure plus centres of excellence in safe and sustainable resource development already in place. That makes us uniquely positioned for leadership in Arctic-related activities. Our government will continue to strengthen relationships among stakeholders, promote partnerships involving local and Aboriginal players, and forge strategic alliance with northern jurisdictions with which Newfoundland and Labrador can partner for success on this emerging frontier. We have strengthened our position for leadership in R&D. Through our province's Research and Development Corporation, we will continue to invest in R&D projects that maximize the impact on our economy and attract leveraged investments from collaborative partners, particularly our innovative business community. As Memorial University and College of the North Atlantic engage in world-class research activities, researchers from at home and abroad are focusing their R&D activities on local industries and putting them into practice, both here and around the globe. As an example, with the government's support, Memorial University's Holyrood Marine Base is now giving students hands-on experience in marine environmental studies, marine biology, marine ecotourism, diving, and oil spill response. To ensure Memorial University has space to grow, our government has approved the construction of a new core science facility to replace aging infrastructure. This facility will house state-of-the-art teaching and research laboratories to support MUN's faculties of science and engineering and applied science. It will also contain space for R&D collaboration with industry to help them compete, grow, and diversify our economy. The province's $125 million contribution will come from the settlement for Hibernia fabrication work. Tomorrow's leaders are today's youth. To position Newfoundland and Labrador's young people to be the leaders of the pack, we will support innovative projects that engage youth in meaningful, experimental learning opportunities focused on fields of science, technology, engineering, and math, and also in the creative world of the arts. Such support and mentorship will open doors for local youth while ensuring that Newfoundland and Labrador secures a sustainable, dynamic, and diversified economy for generations to come. Our government is preparing for the release of its population growth strategy. which will support residents to attach to the labour market and align the workforce with local job opportunities. Enhance supports for families of all sizes and ages, support community well-being and economic development, and increase the attraction and retention of immigrants to the province. To support the strategy, the government will be launching a series of new labour market information tools to better inform Newfoundlanders and Labradorians and those interested in moving to our province about where job opportunities exist in Newfoundland and Labrador. Increasing the availability of skilled trade workers has been a top priority for our government since the release of the Skills Task Force report in May 2007. Through a series of apprenticeship forums, the government has engaged employers, educators, students and graduates to chart the way forward. The results have been phenomenal. An investment of more than $100 million in apprenticeship support, which is a 94% increase in the number of registered apprentices and a 122% increase in the number of journeyperson certificates issued. In 2014, Atlantic Premiers signed a Memorandum of Understanding on Atlantic apprenticeship harmonization to enhance consistency. Together, over the next 4 years, we are working to harmonize 10 Red Seal trades, representing over 60% of apprentices in the Atlantic region. The government is engaged in developing an Atlantic Apprenticeship Mobility Initiative and a Pan-Canadian Mobility Apprenticeship Protocol to make it easier for apprentices to move between provinces and territories while they complete their certification. This will enable local industries to meet their labour demands while greatly expanding the region in which local apprentices can work. Our government has repeatedly consulted with stakeholders to ensure our apprenticeship system continues to respond to industry needs. We will build on this approach through additional stakeholder engagement sessions organized in consultation with the provincial trade advisory committees. The apprenticeship renewal initiatives under discussion will include implementation of an online application and registration process, alternate approaches to apprenticeship training and exam accommodations, youth apprenticeship programming, enhanced apprenticeship supports, enhanced processes for updating files, and an enhanced pre-apprentice tracking system. We will ensure our approaches are relevant and responsive to each specific trade in Newfoundland and Labrador. To better prepare our young people for post-secondary education and employment, we will proceed with a 12-K curriculum renewal in many areas, including English language arts, science, health, social studies, and French programs. We will develop a 21st century curriculum employing methods that integrate innovative and research-driven teaching strategies, modern learning technologies and relevant resources and contexts, and focusing on learning skills that address the needs of a new generation of students. We will also convene a group of educational leaders to review math performance. To support teaching with a requisite infrastructure, our government will unveil a multi-year K-12 infrastructure development plan to prepare in a proactive way for projected growth. These efforts in K-12 will be complemented by the initiatives we are taking to follow through in the area of early childhood development. The Early Childhood Learning Framework entitled Navigating the Early Years will be released in the year ahead. The framework outlines a pedagogical approach to holistic early childhood learning and development with specific emphasis on play-based learning, the important role of adults in supporting children's learning and development, and the inclusion of children with exceptionalities across a variety of environments, which include home, childcare settings, the community, and the school. When today's children grow up, they will find a province very different from the one we live in today, and a large part of the reason for that difference will be the transformation we experience as we bring Lower Churchill Power on stream and complete the transition to a renewable energy economy. That transition has been made possible because of our government's commitment to embrace the opportunities created by offshore oil and channel the returns into renewable energy development. Muskrat Falls is a power source that will flow in perpetuity, long after the last of the oil and gas have been drawn from beneath the ocean floor. But the days of oil are not ending anytime soon. The 2013 Bay du Nord discovery was the largest conventional oil discovery that year in the entire world. Our government is working with Statoil and Husky to negotiate an agreement to bring this project to development. Our government is also working to conclude a new generic royalty regime to maximize revenues from offshore oil development. Our government's optimism is also buoyed by the successful call for bids in the Flemish Pass Basin, the significant growth of reserve estimates for the Hibernia field, and the opportunities created by the new scheduled land tenure system. In March, the Canada, Newfoundland and Labrador Offshore Petroleum Board issued the first call for bids under the scheduled land tenure regime in our offshore area. It consists of 11 parcels totaling 2.5 million hectares in the eastern Newfoundland region, and the minimum bid for each parcel is $10 million in work commitments. The new land tenure regime means transparency and predictability for companies interested in doing business in our offshore industry. It was developed through consultation with industry leaders and is based on the best practices of leading exploration jurisdictions around the world. The new regime is a huge step forward in the province's offshore industry. In every region, we take steps to ensure our environment is protected. This year, we will receive the report of the expert panel reviewing the environmental and socioeconomic implications of hydraulic fracturing in western Newfoundland. We will also enact legislation this year to strengthen the province's oil spill liability regime to ensure even greater diligence to prevent spills and their consequences. Since 2012, our government has been working with other provinces and territories to develop a pan-Canadian energy strategy. Our government's primary focus has been to achieve open access, non-discriminatory electrical transmission. To that end, we will continue to press for the establishment of east-west energy corridors so that all provinces and territories have the unfettered ability to transmit electricity within Canada. Our Premier has met with government and industry leaders both nationally and in the United States, where interest in new clean energy sources is strong. We remain on track to produce first power at Muskrat Falls in late 2017, with full power in 2018. Through the new oversight processes implemented last year, the government is taking a hands-on approach to ensure the project remains on course. Construction of the Maritime Link project to bring our surplus power to market has commenced, and industrial and employment benefits agreements have been signed. In advance of first power 2 years from now in late 2017, our government has taken steps to ensure the existing infrastructure is adequate to meet domestic needs. The government will soon complete its electricity review of all aspects of our province's current system, including governance and regulation, generation, transmission, and distribution. As Muskrat Falls comes on stream, our government will continue to look further ahead to opportunities to add Gull Island Power, Upper Churchill Power, wind power, and other power sources to the mix and maximize the potential of our vast energy warehouse. To complement this green energy initiative, our government will also bring forward other measures to promote greenhouse gas reduction. Let no one minimize the economic impact the Muskrat Falls project is having on Newfoundland and Labrador, even before power flows. The project is expected to generate value and cash flows in excess of $30 billion. The number of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians employed on the project rose in 2012 to 3,274, representing 81% of the project's workforce. In 2014 alone, the project brought investments of $394 million to 500 Newfoundland and Labrador businesses, and this was just the beginning. We are developing clean energy, not primarily to export, but to give Newfoundlanders and Labradorians access to a sufficient supply of clean power at costs that are both low and stable, and also to use the new power to grow and diversify the economies of our regions with new and expanding industries. One of those industries, the mining sector, is currently experiencing the impacts of the downside of a cycling commodity prices. This is difficult news for impacted workers, their families, and local business. Through the strong relationships we have built with industry and municipalities, supported by our participation in the Labrador West Regional Task Force, we are standing by and working with affected communities and families during this critical period. Programs and services are already in place, along with assistance to support new business opportunities. But as in the past, commodity prices will rebound and growth in our mining sector will resume its upward trajectory. Our government is developing a mineral strategy to maximize the value of resource development in the province. We will continue to support the mineral industry through the Mineral Incentive Program, Public Geoscience, and Promotions. We have taken advantage of opportunities to enhance the benefits of one of the largest mining and processing operations in the province at Voisey's Bay and Long Harbour. Thanks to that work, Newfoundland and Labrador will benefit from an estimated additional $200 million in compensation and a $30 million commitment for community initiatives in the province. The Long Harbour nickel processing plant is now producing, and Vale is committed to proceed with underground mining after its surface operation advances at Voisey's Bay. Mining has been sustaining local communities for generations, but no industry has sustained us longer than the fisheries. Today, the entire Newfoundland and Labrador seafood industry is valued at approximately $1 billion and employs approximately 18,000 people in harvesting, processing, and aquaculture, while generating indirect benefits for many more individuals and enterprises. In 2014, our government undertook unprecedented steps to improve markets for cod harvested from the Saint-Pierre Bank area. They included temporarily relaxing minimum processing requirements to test fresh markets in the United States and authorizing outside buyers. These measures complemented efforts by the harvesting and processing sector to establish quality grading for cod, resulting in significantly improved prices. Cod landings increased and the overall landed value increased. Our government will continue these efforts to prepare for the shift from shellfish to groundfish over the coming years. The shellfish sector is in jeopardy because of a troubling Government of Canada policy on shrimp allocations. Last year, we sent an all-party committee on northern shrimp allocations to Ottawa to deliver the message that the province will not stand by and watch the devastation of the inshore shrimp fleet, onshore shrimp processing plants, and the hundreds of communities that depend on the northern shrimp resource. Recent analysis has confirmed that the federal government's last-in, first-out allocation policy has had a disproportionate, detrimental impact on this province's inshore fleet and onshore processing. The committee will continue to press the federal government to abolish the inequitable LIFO policy being used for the northern shrimp industry. Our government also continues to be resolute in demanding that the Government of Canada respect its agreement with Newfoundland and Labrador to provide fully $280 million as its share of a $400 million fisheries investment fund for industry development and renewal. Ottawa agreed to provide fully $280 million for the fund as a condition of our acceptance of the elimination of minimum processing requirements in order to facilitate the Canada-European Union Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, known as CETA. Our government demands that Ottawa honour its covenant with Newfoundland and Labrador. The future of the fishing industry in Newfoundland and Labrador is bright. Our government will continue to work closely with the seafood industry to market local seafood internationally, leading delegations to major trade missions in the United States, the European Union, and Asia, while bringing buyers here. We will also continue to support local awareness of our seafood products in collaboration with the province's Restaurant Association and the Association of Chefs and Cooks. We will continue to disseminate information on market prices, trends, market conditions, supply and demand, currency exchange rates, inventory levels, and more. To assist the processing and harvesting sectors in negotiating raw material prices for various fish species, we will continue to work with the industry to ensure timely and relevant market information is available to all parties in the collective bargaining process. Our government is also proud to be supporting the sealing industry as it capitalizes on opportunities associated with seal processing. There is a reason to be optimistic about the future of this sustainable and humane harvest, given the long-standing role of Carino Processing and the introduction this year of Photolux International as an additional player in the industry. Last year, the government released the 5-year Aquaculture Sustainable Management Strategy, reflecting extensive consultations on the future of the aquaculture industry. The strategy confirms the province's commitment to work cooperatively with all stakeholders to ensure the industry's long-term growth through sustainable management, capacity support, and research and development. In the 10 years from 2003 to 2013, employment in the aquaculture industry grew fourfold to nearly 900 person-years, and the GDP generated by the industry grew tenfold to more than 100 million. With the strategy in place, that growth is just the start. Our government also remains strongly committed to initiatives that will drive future growth in the agriculture and forest industries, which employ large numbers of people and generate significant economic activity. To promote food security in line with the vision of Growing Forward initiative, our government will work with agri-foods producers to explore opportunities to make our province more reliant on local crops. Our government will continue to leverage the strengths of our rural and urban areas, as well as our highly skilled workforce and well-developed infrastructure, to strategically market Newfoundland and Labrador as a place to live, work, and do business. We will continue to use our strategic attributes to attract foreign investment and encourage companies to expand in our province. Mr. Speaker and members of the House of Assembly, following the success of the Premier's Summit on Healthcare, our government will continue to work with stakeholders, including healthcare professionals, patients, and our regional health authorities, to improve the health and wellness of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. We will explore ways to ensure our residents have better access to the services they need and are supported to make healthy decisions to enhance their physical and mental well-being by improving our healthcare system. A great focus will be placed on primary healthcare, particularly in the areas of health promotion and prevention, chronic disease management, mental health and addictions, and supports for our seniors as they age. We will increase access to health services and improve both patient and healthcare provider satisfaction by working with our health professional governing bodies to facilitate all of our health care professionals working to their full scope of practice. In particular, following upon the recent expansion of the pharmacist's scope of practice to include the ability to administer medication via injection, we will work towards allowing pharmacists to prescribe for some defined minor ailments. The mental and physical well-being of our population is a top priority. That is why we invest in health promotion and disease prevention initiatives, such as our public-funded immunization program, which provides vaccines for children at no cost to their families. Our childhood vaccine program boasts a coverage rate of 95%, the envy of other jurisdictions in our country. We will continue to offer cost-effective vaccines to help protect our children from childhood diseases. Our government is acutely aware of the challenges some of our citizens face with mental health and addictions issues, and is committed to ensuring programs and services are in place for those who need them. Over the past 5 years, we have invested an additional $60 million for mental health and addiction services. Because money is not always the answer, we need to look at all aspects of mental health and addiction services, including the prevention to aftercare continuum, and assess how best to improve the system for the future. That is why our government has established the All-Party Committee on Mental Health and Addictions and its review of the system. Recommendations from the committee will inform a new provincial mental health and addiction strategy. Our government continues to ensure innovative ways of accessing services. Our e-mental health program will be improved to help support families and children by reducing wait times for children with mild to moderate behavioral problems through the use of technology. Health system effectiveness and sustainability are directly linked to the quality and efficiency of the health workforce. We are fortunate to have well-trained and competent health professionals who deliver safe, quality care to the people of our province. We will implement a strategic health workforce plan to consolidate existing initiatives and programs, including workforce projections, into a unified and strengthened provincial approach. The plan will help enhance the stability of the health workforce and improve the health care services provided to the residents of the province. We remain more committed than ever to a fair and just society, to care for those who are vulnerable and to support those who face barriers to living full, equitable and healthy lives. Reducing poverty will continue to be among our government's highest priorities. Since the province's first Poverty Reduction Strategy Action Plan in 2006, our government has invested more than $1 billion in poverty reduction initiatives to give people a step up from poverty to self-reliance. In just 8 years, this approach has helped Newfoundland and Labrador reduce reliance on income support to the lowest level in our province's history. We have engaged more than 1,000 people province-wide and followed with a Poverty Reduction Summit to gather recommendations that will inform our second Poverty Reduction Action Plan, which we will bring forward this year. Our government is also developing an Inclusion Action Plan to deliver on the objectives of the strategy for inclusions of persons with disabilities. The action plan will outline concrete initiatives in 5 areas: changing how we think about disability, engaging people with disabilities, removing barriers from the built environment, enhancing access to disability-related supports, and delivering services with dignity and with respect. Our government is focused on promoting healthy aging across the lifespan and fostering a healthy society which honours, listens to, and includes seniors and older persons in building stronger, more dynamic communities. We are living longer lives, and we also want to live better lives. Through our provincial healthy aging policy framework, we are identifying actions we can take to address the particular needs that seniors face. The development of seniors' wellness and social development will take the leadership role in developing an integrated horizontal approach to wellness through the new provincial wellness plan. Having taken a range of actions on matters from nutrition and fitness to tobacco control, our government will work with Provincial Wellness Advisory Council and other partners on this new provincial wellness plan. It will complement our primary health care system and build a coordinated provincial government approach across departments and sectors to advance the wellness of our population's health and to reduce disparities. Healthy living means access to housing. Our government has received the independent consultant's report on homelessness entitled A Roadmap for Ending Homelessness in Newfoundland and Labrador. The report offers a series of recommendations to consider. A steering committee representing the government and community-based organizations has been established to thoroughly review its recommendations and to map out an action plan. Our government will also continue to invest in affordable housing under a new 5-year federal-provincial agreement. Our Foster a Future campaign has been extremely successful since its implementation and continues to create awareness surrounding the need for more foster parents who can provide safe and nurturing environments for our most vulnerable children and youth. To date, the campaign is focused in the approval of 175 new placements in 115 foster homes. The government has worked to provide programming and residential placement for children and youth with complex emotional, medical, and/or behavioral needs. We will build on this work in the year ahead. Some families in Newfoundland and Labrador have complex needs. It is incumbent on the province to intervene to protect children who are being maltreated or abused by their parents. Our government recognizes the importance of ensuring that children and youth in out-of-home residential placements receive the best services possible. The protection and healthy development of our children and youth is paramount. Through the Continuum of Care strategy, our government is striving to ensure children and youth in need of out-of-home care are being matched with placement options that best meet their specific needs. In the coming year, CYFS will continue to strengthen its policies and programs to ensure this province has one of the best child protection systems in the country. Our province has been participating in a provincial territorial Aboriginal Children in Care working group to work on ways to address the disproportionate number of Aboriginal children in care across the country. The government has reached out to local Aboriginal governments and organizations for input on this initiative. A report will be presented to premiers this summer when the Council of the Federation meets in Newfoundland and Labrador. Our government is very encouraged by the positive results of the one-year pilot project that brought 2 experienced child protection social workers into Sheshatshiu office to serve as peer support mentors. We are encouraged by the results of the Newfoundland Service Enhancement Program, which sees social workers flying into Newfoundland on 2-week rotations, and by planning circles through which our officials and Aboriginal community leaders work together on strategies for the communities. A collaborative approach with community leaders is improving service delivery in Aboriginal communities, as well as planning for the safety and well-being of children and youth. Challenges remain, and our government will be a willing partner to address substance abuse challenges that deeply concern all of us. Our government will continue to strengthen partnerships with leaders of the Aboriginal communities, particularly in Labrador, to deliver innovative approaches to child, youth, and family services. We will continue to adapt our foster families training to better reflect Aboriginal communities and culture. We will work to identify additional foster homes that will enable children in need of out-of-home placement to remain within their communities or closer to their home or community to ensure continued connections with their culture. Public safety in our communities and for our residents is a top priority. In January 2015, our government demonstrated its commitment to enhancing public safety through the creation of the Premier's Advisory Council on Crime and Community Safety. This council will examine all aspects of crime in Newfoundland and Labrador and recommend new strategies to prevent and reduce criminal activity and enhance safety in the province. Every member of our society has the right to live free from the fear of violence. Intimate partner and domestic violence is a very real and complex societal challenge impacting vulnerable women and children throughout Newfoundland and Labrador. This past year saw the establishment of the Intimate Partner Violence Initiative with the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police through additional dedicated resources. Our government has evaluated the piloted Family Violence Intervention Court that was in St. John's and intends to roll out a new court this year that will broaden provincial reach. In 2015, we invested significantly in the Sheriff's Office. As a testament to our commitment to safety, we introduced point-of-entry security screening at the Family Court in St. John's and at the Corner Brook Courthouse. Work will continue in the year ahead in keeping with recommendations of the Sheriff's Office review to implement new point-of-entry security screening at Supreme Court Trial Division in St. John's. The Royal Review, commissioned by our government in 2014, recommended numerous amendments to the Legal Aid Act, including provisions relating to the size of the Board of Commissioners of the Legal Aid Commission and prescribing a tariff rate by regulations. In keeping with our commitment to fully implement the review recommendations, my government will introduce these and other improvements to the Legal Aid Act in the coming weeks. In 2013, in his 2013 report entitled Access to Justice, A Roadmap for Change, Supreme Court of Canada Justice Thomas Cromwell noted a strong need to improve access to civil and family justice in Canada, particularly for the most vulnerable in our society. As a means of improving access to justice for all participants in the court processes in this province, our government will ensure that the Supreme Court of Newfoundland and Labrador is properly resourced to revise its rules of court in 2015 and 2016. These have not been modernized since 1986. The outcome will be a more simplified court process, faster, more user-friendly access to court services, and a resolution process proportionate to the complexity of the matter before the court. Self-represented litigants, in particular, will benefit from revision in the rules of court when engaging on their own behalf in the court process. Mr. Speaker and members of the House of Assembly, there are many other things the government might have chosen to do this year if it were not faced with the unprecedented and unanticipated drop in revenue caused by the precipitous drop in the price of oil. But responsible governance demands fiscal prudence. In this year's budget, our Finance Minister will present a plan to return Newfoundland and Labrador to a balanced budget in 2020-2021. Having negotiated a solution to provide stability to the Public Service Pension Plan, our government will follow through with the Newfoundland and Labrador Teachers Association on the agreement in principle to bring financial sustainability to the teachers' pension plan. Having consulted with more than 500 stakeholders, our government this year will announce a new provincial municipal fiscal framework to provide efficient and effective ways for sustainable services to be delivered, paid for, and shared in the province. Our government is preparing to modernize the Lands Act and make the Crown Lands application process simpler and the service delivery model more effective. This will be informed by a comprehensive review, the consultation component of which is nearing completion. Our government is committed to ensuring the province's youth and the agencies that serve them have opportunities to inform the government's programs, services, policies, and decisions. Building on a number of interactive learning events, workshops, town halls, schools-based activities, and online engagement sessions held across the province in recent years, our government recently relaunched the Premier's Youth Advisory Committee. 23 high school, post-secondary, and workforce-aged individuals were appointed in early 2015 after a province-wide expression of interest process generated 71 applications. The newly mandated Premier's Youth Advisory Committee is tasked with developing policy and decision-making advice and submitting it directly to the government. Our government is eager and determined to work collaboratively with the people it serves. Better collaboration is the key to promoting provincial and regional prosperity. Our government's Office of Public Engagement will launch a new social innovation collaboration incentive fund to bring together diverse partners across all sectors: business, labour, community, academia, and government, to collaborate on innovative projects that demonstrate new and effective ways of working together on common or complementary goals. Our government is developing Newfoundland and Labrador's first open government action plan, reflecting the best open government practices in the world. The plan will nurture a culture of openness within the government by promoting access to information and data and exchange dialogue collaboration on initiatives. Under this plan, Newfoundland and Labrador will become, by 2020, one of the most open and accessible jurisdictions anywhere in the world. Our government will bring forward as its first bill the strongest access to information and protection of privacy legislation anywhere in Canada, reflecting in their entirety the recommendations that the Honourable Clyde Wells, Ms. Jennifer Stoddard, and Mr. Doug Leto submitted in March. Our government commends the review committee members for their outstanding work. Our Premier is driving a process to reform the House of Assembly by enhancing the roles of individual members, reviewing the compensation of members who hold special positions in the legislature, reviewing MHA pensions, reducing the number of seats, and opening legislation to better scrutiny. Newfoundland and Labrador led the country in legislative reform following the publication of Rebuilding Confidence in 2007, and we are ready to do even more to ensure the people of Newfoundland and Labrador are served by the most progressive legislature in the country. We are proud of the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. We are proud of people like teenagers like T.J. Fitzpatrick, Justin Saunders, and James Stapleton, who came to the rescue when flames engulfed the Marystown Hotel, and they were instrumental in saving the lives of people caught up in the blaze. We are proud of people like Jiffy Cab's dispatcher, Jay Dunn, who calmly talked a distraught dad through CPR to save the life of his 17-month-old child. We are proud of people like 911 dispatcher Shelley Kelly, who saved the Labrador West family suffering from deadly carbon monoxide poisoning by keeping the ailing mom alert and coaching her to get fresh air into the cabin before help arrived. We are proud of people like Desiree Foote, a new recruit with the St. George's Volunteer Fire Department, who, in a blizzard too severe for the fire truck, joined Captain Robbie Tobin on his ATV and sped to resuscitate an unconscious man who had suffered a heart attack. There are no finer people on the face of the earth than Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, and they deserve nothing but the best. Our government is buoyed with optimism as our people begin to come into their own, enjoying the highest levels of income ever in our history, employment levels that are higher than a decade ago, and a vast array of initiatives that enhance the lives of the oldest to the youngest amongst us. Our government is managing the affairs of the province responsibly, progressively, and sustainably to ensure the incredible gains we have already achieved are eclipsed only by the phenomenal gains that we are about to bring to fruition. Newfoundland and Labrador is stronger today than it has ever been, and we are on a course to achieve goals that will benefit our people for generations. Our government is filled with confidence and optimism that the prospects for Newfoundland and Labrador, both in the short term and over the long term, are incredibly bright. Ours is a future that knows no bounds and shall ever remain resolute in defense of this province we so dearly love. Newfoundland and Labrador, proud and strong. Estimates of expenditure will be laid before you in due course, and you will be asked to grant supply to Her Majesty. I invoke God's blessing upon you as you commence this new session. May divine providence guide you in your deliberation. Thank you very much.